No, I'm still too young.
Oh, no, I think you'd enjoy it.
I'm a good decade young.
Yeah, but-
Can I ask a question? With the, it's also going to be mounted as well, I think. It comes
Yes,
mounted?
it'll
So
be
that
mounted
would-
from the
yeah,
ceiling,
so that would
hanging
even-
down.
And that's giving more space.
And one of the
be
other,
used.
if I can
No?
comment back on the projection TV, one of the other issues with the projection TVs, and I went in online reading and researching about them also, you have to almost have a completely dark room in order to get the full effect from a projection TV. Any type of light that will affect the,
Wow.
your view.
I thought that too, and I didn't see that indicator.
It's a temporary budget.
It is on there, and I can pull that review and I'll get it to you, but
I still think
Might
there's
be-
better ways to fulfill the requirement and support our people and save money at the same time.
Is there a motion to approve this purchase of the, for the TV? $4,069.98.
I motion to approve this, only also because I think our seniors are very essential for this township. I mean, I've been there, I've seen what the activities they have, and for them to see something like this and be able to see it in, whether they live a few more years or it doesn't matter, it's the idea that we value them. So to me, this amount, yes, many taxpayers, just like myself, will say this is a lot of money, but there's no price to pay on a senior. So yes, I approve this.
I'll second.
Amy, please pull the
I
council.
don't have a choice.
Mrs. Trueblood?
Yes.
Mr. Tompkins?
No.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Discussion and possible introduction of proposed ordinance establishing salaries for certain employees and elected officials of the Township of Pemberton.
Are we tabling this?
Do we have to do this?
Are we tabling
What?
can talk about it.
This is a salaries ordinance which establishes the 2016 salaries for 15 positions. This is an annual ordinance.
I think you have enough votes to introduce it, Chase. Research.
Council, is there any discussion on this, or would we like to introduce it?
I don't want to introduce it.
This is an
I'm-
annual.
I'm looking at this, and we're taking our minimum salary from last year. It was $50,000 on a lot of these salaries, and we're increasing it to $85,000, $70,000. These minimum salaries are increasing substantially, and then we're giving annual pay raises for quite a few people. I find it very hard to do and justify when I look at the federal government, and a lot of retirees aren't getting pay increases this year because the federal government says there's no real cost of living increase requirement because our economy hasn't grown. I know a lot of military retirees, our retirement pay is hinged with Social Security. We didn't get a cost of living increase this year, but we have the basic salary of a lot of these folks gone from $50,000 to $85,000, and then $2,000 plus increase per year. I know it doesn't seem like much, but you do it year after year after year, and it adds up. I just, anyone that's making over $50,000 a year, I just cannot, in good conscience, say, yeah, here's another pay raise.
Jack, where do you see an increase from $50,000 to $80,000?
May I come over?
Sure.
Here's our existing ordinance. There's $50,000. And this is our proposed ordinance at $85,000.
Let's go back here. These are the current minimum salaries. So
No, they are not. Those are the proposed changes.
I got this from administration, and our solicitor is shaking his head no.
This is for 2015.
Mr. Council President, if I may,
Sure.
I think Mr. Tompkins is correct as to minimum salary. The minimum salaries, the reason that we propose increasing the minimum salaries, there's nobody at the minimum salaries, by the way, is that the minimum salaries here have been the minimums for I don't know how many years, and the minimum salaries make absolutely no sense. If you're not, the minimum salary as it is right now for the chief of police is $50,000. A police officer starting here within 18 months is making $50,000. It makes the minimum salaries as you have them in this ordinance just don't make sense. What you need to look at are the maximum salaries, which is at or near where all of our employees on this ordinance are. The reason that I suggested changing the minimum salaries was for the minimum salaries to more reasonably reflect what the pay rates are for people in those titles. In fact, they're still much lower than they are in the world in which we live in, where police chiefs, make between $110,000 and $250,000 in New Jersey, where business administrators make between $110,000 and $200,000 in New Jersey. And department directors make $120,000, $130,000 in New Jersey. So you're focusing on the minimum, but the minimums, even the new minimums, you won't be able to find anybody to fill the job if you're going to offer the minimum salaries. Trust me.
Next one.
And Dennis, the only other thing I think in the conversation that's worth noting is that these aren't raises for any current employee. This is just the salary range. Like all the employees that for these titles are are already above the minimum, so they're not, and they would be either contractually or otherwise get whatever they're going to get.
Well, none of them are contractual, but
right.
All of them are above the minimums. So some of the changes to the maximum salaries are recommended to provide for 2016 2% raises, which is what the superior officers have in their contract, and if you include longevity for police officers, they have just about 2% as well, and we expect that the contracts, when we bring them to council for CWA and AFSCME, will include raises that, generally speaking, will be between 1.5% and 2%, including a variety of financial benefits. That's the standard increase. It's not more than most folks are doing.
And this does increase the minimum or maximum salary for the BA, Chief Financial Officer, Director of Public Works, Director of Rec, Council Member. I definitely do not want to pay a raise. I'm happy with where we are right now.
You're not required to accept the pay raise. You can accept a lower amount if you'd like.
And I'll be more than happy to do that. And to be honest, I don't think we need this ordinance.
Well, you have to do a salary ordinance every year.
I think it should be maintained at what it was.
Well, that's a different argument. But you have to do a salary ordinance every year.
So what are our options?
Yeah.
Well, you could wait to introduce it, or you could...
You're going to have to wait until you have to vote, because I'm not going to introduce it.
Well, it's interesting. Hold on. Just because we happen to have the bylaws for discussion tonight, if you look at Section 10, Rules of Debate, Paragraph A, Presiding Officer, the general rule is Council President can't move to introduce an ordinance. That's the rule in the bylaws. But it goes on to say in this section, in order to move or second a proposition, the President must relinquish the chair of the presiding officer to another member who shall be selected by council as the presiding officer. the temporary presiding officer shall, upon the request of the president, immediately relinquish the chair back to the president when the president shall conclude the movement or seconding of a proposition before council. So,
With three of us, it's still a stalemate.
it would not be. If the council president wants to relinquish the chair for the purpose of moving to introduce the ordinance, he could do it. All I'm saying is that it's possible. I never actually saw that till tonight, actually. Because we were talking about the bylaw.
Now, before we potentially go that route, the stipend tag coordinator and the stipend registrar of vital statistics was eliminated from this ordinance as well. Can you explain why?
It was eliminated from last year's ordinance because those services are provided within the context of people's normal salaries.
That would be, as the registrar.
Okay. Okay. Is there a motion to introduce?
I'll motion to introduce ordinance. What number would this be?
2.
2. Ordinance number 2, 2016.
Now, well, Jack already said he's not going to second it. If I wanted to second it, how would I go about that?
You'd have to relinquish the chair to either Norma or Jack, upon whatever the will of the three of you are, to relinquish your role as presiding officer.
Are you sure he didn't have to relinquish his chair before the motion to introduce was entered?
No, it just says in order to move or second the proposition. That's what the bylaws say. So there is a motion already. You're in the second part.
Okay, so I would like to relinquish my duties as the council president.
You need a consensus among you. Who would take it over?
Who would you like to be the council president?
Go ahead, Jack.
You gotta say that also.
Jack, council president.
Okay.
Okay, and can
We
I?
need to vote on that.
And I'd like to.
You need to vote.
Yeah. Vote on Jack being council
Then let's
president.
relinquish the chair. It just says, to another member who shall be selected by council as the presiding officer. Right. Okay.
Okay, so Jack, you're the current council president, and I'd like to second Norma.
Well, he's gotta ask.
Is there a
okay.
second? Is there a second for the motion?
Yes.
Full council. Amy?
Mrs. Trueblood?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Tompkins?
No.
And Mr. Allen, you have to ask for the chair back.
Jack, may I please have the president and chair back?
Sure.
Thank you, I appreciate it. So we should just move on?
Yeah,
Just
what?
move on.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're good?
Crossed my mind for a second.
Solicitor's report.
Yes, I have nothing for the public this evening, Council President.
Our engineer is not here. The administration, mayor, or the business administrator?
The only thing I would comment on is the last report I got from Office of Emergency Management was that the storm that is heading our way is projected to hit stronger on the west coast along the Delaware River. They're projecting up to 12 inches at that point, and along the shorelines 8 inches, which would lead you to believe that we're getting 10 inches. But as we all know, the weather reports, we may only see an inch of rain. So we'll play it by ear, but I know our guys are gearing up for it, DPW's gearing up for it, and we'll be out there working the streets.
Dennis? Thank you. Council members? We'll start with you, Jack.
I have a question. I don't live out in this area, and it's been something I've been meaning to ask, and it just popped in my mind when Ms. Phillips was talking. Sorry, America. Out in PL, out by the fire station, I was out driving around there during the summertime, and there's one road that has boulders in the middle of it, blocking off the road. Can somebody tell me why we did that?
I can. Amy. Can I answer that one?
Sure.
Quite a few years ago, they did an ordinance vacating Tennessee Trail between New York and Connecticut, that would be. The boulders were placed there to allow for a play area, more specifically a rollerblading, roller skating, roller hockey area for the kids to play safely in the street.
Okay.
And it's been that way for, I would say for at least 15 years, if not more, because it was done shortly after I started here.
Is there, if we're going to utilize that, that's great, but is there a way to put some kind of reflective something or other on those boulders?
That probably wouldn't be a bad idea.
Because remember when we were talking about the dam and the putting something out there that kind of blends in with the scenery? Well, those boulders blend in pretty darn good.
And as you mentioned, there are new people that drive through there like yourself, and most of the residents, if not all of them, know that boulders are there, including the kids, but we'll address that.
I'd appreciate that. The other thing is, I was out and about, and I noticed the streetlights on Trenton are working now. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. The other thing, I had this for a council. We have the Veterans Advisory Committee, and they meet here once a month and stuff. When Mrs. Skull was on the council, she kind of acted as a liaison. And I looked at the ordinance, and I didn't see that there's anything appointed there officially. But I was wondering if the council would have a problem if I kind of continued that tradition and met with them when they have their monthly meetings and stuff.
How does that work? We'd be able to do that, right? The
we do
Veterans Advisory Committee?
Actually, Jack and I were discussing this earlier. I don't believe there was anything in the ordinance providing for a council liaison. It was just kind of a de facto thing that Mrs. Skull became because she attended the meetings. So I don't know if they...
I just hate to go there and ruffle some of the council's feathers if I'm
No.
in there and
I assume anyone can.
so I'm going to take that as a, yeah, go ahead, knock yourself out. So.
I don't know what the structure of the meetings are, if only the members can attend, or they allow anybody to
I
attend?
talked to Rudy, and he seemed to welcome it. So, you know, he was kind of concerned because Sherry wasn't going to be able to be participating, and there might not be a council representative there to hear some of the concerns or take action if needed, or bring it to the council.
That might be a question more for Andy as far as how that committee, they're an advisory committee and how they operate and what might need to be done to change the ordinance allowing for an official council representative. But I mean, I believe there have been more people attending the meeting that are actually out on the committee. I'm not sure, but I know there's a lot of people that come through on the days.
This is Veterans Advisory
The
Committee.
Veterans
Right.
Advisory Committee.
Why don't I just take a look at the ordinance?
If you would, I'd
Report
appreciate
back.
it.
Yes.
Redevelopment area over by the old auto parts store and the other facilities and the doctor's office that we purchased. Are there any new developments over in that area that we're considering? I know last time we had anything come up was asbestos removal. Is there anything else new in that area?
No, we're scheduling to remove it. I don't know if they started.
We did authorize the removal of the asbestos. I don't know if they have started it. The next step after the removal of the asbestos will be the demolition of the properties. There is, I think, one other property, the one that was just 31 Bank, that was just vacated recently by the tenant. We're having that reviewed to determine if there's any asbestos that will need removal there prior to demolition. We'll be able to let you know at the next meeting. You know, we should have at least demolition scheduled, if not done by then.
And in that same area, are we going to be contacting some of the other businesses in the area, like CVS and Rita's across the street or Catty Corner there, as to the demolition schedules and stuff like that? Because I'm sure it might impact their businesses to a degree.
Closed, isn't it?
Excuse me?
I think Rita's is closed.
Well, we don't know when it's going to be demolition though, and I don't know when Rita's is going to open, so it may have an impact.
I don't know how that would impact the businesses across the street or even CVS. Will be working on the properties that, we own.
But you're going to be tearing down a building, so it's going to probably create some kind of dust and airborne thing. And Rita's is an outdoor ice cream restaurant type of an establishment, so
Won't be open during the time of demolition.
I don't know. That's why I'm asking the questions.
We hope to actually have this down within the month. That's our goal.
See, I don't have a magic 8-ball or a crystal ball. I don't have that.
I was shaking his hand. Like you need to give me that.
The other thing is, it is going to snow this weekend. I hope everyone's very, very safe. Snow and ice scares me. A lot of folks know I have a personal encounter with that kind of situation. I know it can be very, very dangerous and give you some lifelong issues with it. So I hope you're all very safe and make smart decisions when you're out there in the snow. And I want to thank everyone for coming out. It's nice to see some friendly, smiley faces, almost.
Shubla?
I want to thank everyone for coming out, and I go back on what Jack's saying. Please be careful out there. If you don't have to be out there, don't. Have someone, not even send someone else, because then they're in danger. But just be wise. And if you need help or anything, know that there's either neighbors or someone you could reach out to. So thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you. I'd just like to mention that Councilwoman Jackson sends her apologies for not being able to be here tonight. She did have surgery last week, so she just wanted me to inform the public, and we hope to have her back sometime soon. I also was informed that Ms. Stinney, Councilwoman Stinney, is back in the hospital since last Thursday, I believe. So, I'm sure they'll welcome your prayers, and we hope to have each of them back and healthy again. That being said, just to piggyback off of what the other council members said, be careful this weekend, drive safe, stay warm, and I look forward to seeing you all at the next meeting.
Jason?
Mr. Council President, if I may, I apologize. I spoke to Chief Augustoni earlier this evening, and he asked me to let everyone know that the firefighter dinner on Saturday has been postponed because of the weather. So, almost left here without conveying the message.
Thank you. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Make that motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Oh, wait, Jack.
What?
Can you...